Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is just going to be looking at some of the images that I've captured in the previous month, so back in April now, and just talking about any gear changes that I've made, and as well as any prints that I've captured. So I haven't made many purchases after the big purchase of the OM-1 and the Fujifilm GFX 50S last month, but I did at the end of last month buy another lens for the GFX. So whilst I am loving using this camera, I have been craving more of that medium format look that you can get from this camera. And I know the obvious choice is to get the Miticon 65mm f1.4 lens, but that lens is just crazy expensive here in the UK. You're talking about probably about £500 to get a good copy, and I'm just not that rich or prepared to spend that amount of money at the moment. Likewise, I want to get a native zoom lens as well for this camera, and I'm probably just going to get the cheapest lens, which is the 35 to 70. But that lens at the moment, again in the UK, is still quite high to buy at the moment, so I think I'm just going to hold off any more lenses at the moment. So what I did buy actually was a poor man's Miticon, a Minolta 58mm f1.4, because apparently that works really well on the GFX. So that will probably feature in some of the images I show in next month's video. I was as well going to get a different lens for the OM-1. So I have this lens here, which is the 12 to 40 f2.8 Pro lens, and I was almost going to pull the trigger on a 40 to 150 lens just to give me a bit more reach when I'm trying to capture my dog running towards me. But in all honesty, after the initial kind of excitement I had with using the OM-1 and the initial results that I got from this camera, overall I've been a bit disappointed in terms of the reliability of the autofocus. I find that in sequences of bursts when using this camera and lens combination, you can visibly see the focus just drift in and out of focus on the subject or my dog running towards me, and I just not getting the consistent results that I thought I would. So it's been a bit of a disappointing month using the OM-1. Don't get me wrong, I have taken some excellent pictures with the OM-1, certainly from my dog running towards me, but I feel that I've fired off so many frames that I was bound to get something in focus at some point. So all in all, I've taken probably a few thousand images, but in terms of actually ones I've kept, overall I've probably kept about 150 images. I probably estimate. I've still got some to process, but early on in April, we went on our first holiday of the year to Dartmoor, and whilst the weather was great, it was great for like holiday weather, but it wasn't very good for photography, so I didn't get too many notable images from that excursion. And then as well, I did a few photo shoots with my camera club. So we went down to Swanage, and we also did some like bluebell walks in some woodlands around Montacute. And I think probably thinking about those trips, I certainly probably got my most notable images from the trip to Swanage, because I did research a bit. I did go to a few sites, and I did come away with the images that I expected to be able to capture. So yeah, and I'll talk about more of those a bit later on. We also went on a short camping trip to the outskirts of Bath, and I only took the Ricoh GR3 on this trip just because I didn't really want to burden myself with my bigger cameras. It was just more getting out with the van for the first time this year, just to make sure we remember how to camp. But I did take a shot that I'll talk about a bit later on. And then beyond that, I obviously did some local walks with my wife, and like dog walks with my dog. And a lot of the pictures, like I said, with the OM-1 probably came from those early morning walks, because we did have some mist in April here in the UK as well. Right, so on to notable photos. As I touched on, I went to the Swanage area. So you've got like Corfe Castle, you've got Swanage, the town itself, and then also as well you've got the Heritage Railway. And I did look at what other people were taking before I got there, and it gave me the idea for this shot here, which is probably one of the shots I'm most happy with this year. I would say is basically Corfe Castle in the background with the steam train of the Swanage Heritage Railway coming through the scene, and it's an X-Pan crop, as you can see. So I had the GFX 50S on a tripod, I had it in manual focus, I had everything in manual. I put the GFX into burst mode, and then when the train came, I fired off some shots when the train passed into my zone of focus. And the fact that I had some really good shots out of this, I was really happy with myself that it all came together. And it was a bit hard trying to pick what shot I liked the best, because I like this shot here where you see more of the train closer to the camera, but there's so much smoke you lose being able to see the bridge that it's just come under. So I think this is a much stronger composition, and like I said, it's probably one of my favourite images that I've captured this month. Right, so on to some other images, not so much notable images, but other images I'm quite happy with. So like I said, I also envisaged taking a shot like this down in Swanage. This is obviously with what they call the Old Pier in Swanage. So standing on the new pier to take a shot of the Old Pier. And I did envisage using the OM-1 here because I've got filters for the OM-1 lenses, and I was planning a really, really long exposure here, like literally a minute and beyond, because it wasn't like early morning and it was quite bright, but I wanted like that completely still shot. And I was really disappointed with the OM-1 here in that the shot was not sharp at all, it was all blurry. But I think that might have been to do with the fact that where I was stood, it was picking up vibrations from people walking on the pier. So that's why, again, this shot was actually with the GFX on the tripod. And what I did is I just literally had an ND filter I was using on the OM-1. I just held it in front of the lens, again manual focus on a 50mm the Yashinon, I think, lens that I used for this composition, and the exposure was only about 6 seconds. So I think because of that, it didn't have time to pick up any vibrations, so that's why the shot came out a lot better. I still think I could have probably done more here, but I was planning on the OM-1 and even the infrared camera that I had to do the heavy lifting in this scene. But as it came about, the GFX, I think, again did better in this scenario. The other notable image I took this month was when I went to Bath, or the outskirts of Bath, on a camping trip, as I said earlier, and I only had the Ricoh, so this was the best I could do with this scene. But we just went out for like a late afternoon walk. But I feel like I could have done better if I took a different camera. But anyway, I still like that shot. And then I went on some pictures I took of my dog, and actually one of my favourite shots I took of my dog last month was with the GFX, this one here, which was using a 135mm Konica Hexanon Aeon lens, obviously manual focus, so that kind of adds to how happy I am that this shot came out well. And then I'll just talk about some of these other shots I took with the OM-1. So as I mentioned earlier, I did initially feel like I was getting some really good, better shots with the OM-1, and certainly like this shot, these shots that I'm just putting up now. But as I said earlier, I probably took a few thousand images, and in the sequences that these were captured, you can just see that the focus is like, it's on Billy, it's off her, it's back on, it's all like that all the way through the burst. And it's just infuriating, because you just can't like plan where, like, oh yeah, that's the zone I want to be in focus. You just have to fire off lots of frames and hope with the OM-1 that you get ones in that zone that you're happy with. And at the moment, I'm just disappointed with it, because it's probably no better than the other cameras that I've since sold. So one of the images I'm happy with that I printed is this one here. This one is from the Ricoh GR Mark 1. It's the boat in stone when I was camping. But actually this one was from the Canon 5D, so this is like a scene at Minturn House that I quite like, and I don't think the printer here did the print justice. Like, I'll just put up now the what it looks like on the screen, and this is what the print is, and yeah, I don't think it's done a particularly good job in this case. Canon R8, and I really think actually the printer does print out Canon R8 images really, really well. And it's a shame now with this composition, if you were to go there today, the cottages behind have been renovated, and there's now a railing which, albeit quite a pretty railing, but a railing which sits between the houses and the post box. So I'm never again going to be able to capture something like that. And I put the digital image up of this one earlier, but this one was the one with the GFX and my dog Billy on Dartmoor. Likewise, and I wanted my dog when we went to Moodford a couple of weeks ago. And again, I don't think the selfie replicates the GFX colours quite as well as the Canon R8 colours that I've observed so far. Yeah, so that's it for this month. I'm just keeping the OM-1 for an event that I've got to photograph early in May, but then it will be going actually back to where I bought it from, actually to repair, because the joystick button on the back is totally broken. It just doesn't click in and it doesn't move, and that translates to trying to move the focus point or change the focus point size on the back of the camera. So I've done some researching around, and it does seem to be a bit of a common problem with the Olympus OM1s. So yeah, but generally I'm not that happy with the OM1, as you could probably tell. So yeah, I think that's about all I wanted to cover this month. So as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.